Hello world and welcome back to my channel. This is Anne from Yardsteading in Jamaica. Well, I still am on a quest to complete the beds. Still have not gotten the soil for that bed as yet. I thought of taking some this afternoon, but boy, I telling you, when I think of taking the load all the way up the hill to get to the farm, I just call it a farm, right? Yes, the backyard garden. When I think of getting all the way up here with those buckets of soil, man, and my very strong grandson isn't home from school as yet. So I have no assistance to take the load up to the backyard. I decided I was going to continue with the covering of the bed. I went back to the forest this time. However, I did not take leaves. What happens is that the forest where I go, sometimes folks, when they cut their yards, take the grass clippings and they dump them there. When they trim their trees, like the nice Christmas tree bush, what name again? I can't remember it now. Pine, this kind of pine looking thing. Yes. When they cut their trees, when they trim their trees to make it fancy for the Christmas, they take all of those stuff and they throw them in the woods. Mother Nature like them for it. Me like them for it too, because guess what? Today it saved me a whole lot of time from having to push the leaves together and then collecting it in bags. Well, this time I never even took bags. I took buckets. And as full as this bucket is, it is as light as a feather. So, here's what I'm going to do. The beds that were not completed, I'm going to see just how far these 3 5-gallon buckets that I took up will go. This is just sheer dried up. What I'm calling is now hay. Right. So, when the time gets extremely hot, the hay that grows in the woods become very dry, very brittle. As soon as you press on it, it snaps. So you know that ain't gonna live again. So I have no problem taking them at this stage, and I'm going to be spreading them as mulch in the garden. This will break down very quick because the level of decomposition that is already happening with it is intense. So this is going to become super food for my garden too. So I won't bore you with watching me layering grass clippings and stuff on the garden. I'll just complete the task and then I'll catch up back with you. So I had promised that I would have done a Jadam microbial solution today. However, I must apologize profusely. I have everything that is required to make the solution except the salt. All the salts I check in my house have some form of additive in them, and I need a salt that is pure for this process. So I'm going to have to go to the health food store to get myself a packet of pink Himalayan salt, which is the one I tend to use. As soon as that is acquired, I will, and I promise you, I will make that solution. However, I can tell you where I get some of this information from. There's this guy on YouTube that I really like to watch. His channel is called, I think, Farm Like a Garden Like a Viking. Yes. He is totally sold like myself on the Korean natural farming principles. That is what he applies to his garden. He used absolutely nothing but the Korean natural farming technique to grow his food. And I'm telling you, he has an extensive garden. Anyway, let us get into this evening's video now. Okay, so I have completed the emptying of the buckets, and this is what was done. So all the areas in this bed that were devoid of mulch has been mulched. I mulched and I mulched and I mulched. Now this is about an inch and a half of mulch in some areas. Some areas it's a little thicker. But what I will do, like I said before, is continue to add. What I want is a little coverage. I'm going to show you something. I am going to remove an area that I just covered in this bed. So I'll show you the difference between, all right, so this bed, this is the soil and it's almost dry. There's a bit of moisture in there, a little bit of moisture in there, but I'm going to show you the difference in one of the beds that I covered up. All right, so here we are over in this bed. You see the weed them a come up? Because them a get whole heap of moisture too. So I'm going to be removing and let you see. All right, look at the level of moisture that is in this bed in comparison to that bed. They were watered the same time this morning. So this is the impact of covering the beds. And you notice there's nothing in this bed that look wilty. I watered them about 5:30 this morning. That was when I watered this bed, about 5:30 a.m. And there's absolutely nothing that is wilted or drying up in here. So, I have also added some coverage to this bed as well. Oh, yes. My apologies. I had my hand in the way. Yeah. And whilst I was covering, I noticed something. Let me see if I can find it and show you. I think that is a baby melon coming on this vine. I don't even know when it came up. I just saw it this morning, just a while ago. Not this morning, just now. So, I don't know if the bee pollinated it or what, but the blossom appears to be drying up. I'm hoping that it was pollinated. I feel so bad. All right. So what I'm going to be doing now is to be watering. So my intent is to every evening that I come home is to add mulch to the beds that don't have mulch. And where I can top up on a bed, I'll top up so that I'll get to that level when my plants for the summer will not be parched to death by the heat of the sun. So, the bed that I planted the 5 potatoes in, all right, just check. They're rotted because I was wondering why them taking so long to come up. Every single potato is rotted. So let me tell you what I'm going to be doing with that bed. I'm going to be putting, and that's the bed that had the sweet potato in. I'm going to be putting some manure in that bed, and I'm going to be covering that bed over with plastic. And I'm going to allow it to stay there for about 2 weeks, covered under the plastic. It is supposed to help to sterilize the soil. So the intensity of the sun beating on the plastic will percolate all of that heat into the soil, and it should act like a sterilizing agent for the soil. But in order for that process to really be effective, I'm going to be having to moisten that soil prior to covering it up. So I'm going to generate steam under the plastic in that bed. So the things that I don't want in that bed will die off. This is my shortcut method. Instead of going to boil water and throw in the soil, I'm going to generate the steam by covering the bed up. Watering the bed first, covering the bed up with plastic, totally covering the bed from the top to the bottom. All what, 9 feet of it? Yes. I'm going to be covering it up with plastic, black plastic at that. I'm going to split open a couple of garbage bags and use them for that purpose. Yep, I'm going to be doing that. So that bed will become sterilized. Yep. And I think when I get the soil into the other L-shaped bed that's over there that is incomplete, then I'll do the same thing for that bed. Well, what do you know? I have taken it upon myself to one more time try sweet potato. Ha. All right. So I got some sweet potato slips on Sunday. They were so wilted that I wondered if they'd be of any use. But what I did was I cut them into the size I want them, and I stuck them into a container with water. And everything has perked up, and I think I see even leaves beginning to form. Leaves do, root beginning to form on some of the bottoms. I should be transplanting 2 rosemary today, but I don't figure out where I want to put them in the garden yet. And until I have come to the full knowledge of where I want to place them, because I don't intend to have anything dying on me because it's getting too much or too little sun. So one of the things I'm going to be doing is to doing a little bit of research on whether or not rosemary likes direct sunlight or it can tolerate a bit of shade. Because there's some shaded area in a couple of beds that I have that are empty at the time, and I'd love to fill them out so that the things that require direct sunlight will have the direct sunlight. Until we meet again on this channel, this is Anne saying thank you for tuning in, and I'm reminding you to like the videos, to share the videos, to leave a comment. And if you have not yet subscribed, to subscribe to my channel, click the notification bell so that you can be notified each time I upload a new video. Have a wonderful evening. Jagaid.